Hey, Stuart here. This video I want to talk about fasting. If you've watched the keto video where I talk about the keto diet, this is also another question I get a lot of lately, particularly with people doing or wanting to look at doing fasting as a way to optimize their health or lose weight or both. And so I just thought I'd answer that or some of those questions that I get a lot in this video, so you can sort of get a picture as to my thoughts on it and what I think about fasting. So firstly, fasting might sound a little bit weird in the sense that really what it actually means is just another word for not eating, isn't it? But I think it definitely has a lot of benefits, but that's what I'm going to try and explain to you. I think there's definitely a good way to apply it, and probably you just need to be mindful of not slipping into some of the traps that can sort of happen in this process of fasting, if you like, or going for periods without eating. So the first component I think to think about with fasting is, why are you actually doing it? You know, I could be only say that because I guess over the many years I've been coaching people based on nutrition and health optimization strategies. Most people that want to do fasting, it's really driven by a desire to lose weight. You know, they might know someone that just raves about it and as a result they want to give it a go, or they want to learn more about it. So the first question, as I said, is really just to work out, am I doing this for weight loss, or am I doing this more as a sort of health optimization, longevity sort of strategy? So if the answer to that question is I'm doing this, or I want to look at doing fasting for weight loss, my next question would be why? Because I also have come to the realization over the years that the appeal for fasting, I believe, is the fact the not eating component that really appeals to people. Subconsciously, I think it's sort of in that realm of feeling like an extreme diet, even if you haven't sort of cognitively articulated that to yourself, as in you're not looking at fasting because it's extreme. I think that's part of the appeal with people, where this concept of what it would be like to not eat for a couple of days and imagine what the outcome would be. I think that's quite a dangerous way of looking at fasting. As I said, if it's purely locked into the goal being to lose weight. That being said, it is a great tool. It is a tool where weight loss is one of the byproducts. But there are other elements to it that I would say my concept of what fasting is more of a longevity health optimization thing if you're implementing it. But yeah, if it's for weight loss, just be careful that it doesn't sort of ratchet up in a way that I've seen it happen before. And what I mean is, let's say you're doing 5-2 fast, which is 5 days eating, 2 days not eating in a week. What will happen is because most people that do that, it means that they have got a significant loss in calories. The totality of that week, they're cutting a significant portion of calories out of their diet. As a result, they'll lose weight. But the problem with that is everything like that, however you get yourself into a deficit, will work for a short period of time, and then the weight loss will stop, or it slows down significantly. So what I've seen with people is it starts with a 5-2 fast and ends up with like a 4-3, and then 3 days with not eating, and then that stops working, and you think, well, maybe what if I did 4? So it's one of those things that does have a tendency to ratchet up if the goal is just weight loss, which means that you are basing the outcome of the diet or the effectiveness of the diet on whether your body is losing weight. So that's the first trap, and that's not what I think fasting should be used for, because it's basically like an extreme version of a calorie restriction. I think the other thing it affords too is people feel like when they do eat, they can get away with eating a lot of crap because they feel like they've made this huge sacrifice in the days where they're not eating it. They can reward themselves. So if you're sitting there listening to this and you're someone that has a tendency to use food as a reward, this is a terrible way to eat because you will end up really rewarding yourself on those days when you eat. So what I want to tell you is the way to implement fasting if you're going to do it or you want to try it. And I would recommend, same as what I said with the keto diet, please have a go at it yourself, see what you think, make your own mind up. At the very least, you'll learn something about your body and nutrition in the process. But the way I would use fasting, and I do actually do fasting, funnily enough, the way to look at it is not actually eating less. So I don't eat less food on the days when I fast, and I implement something that would be more of a 12-hour fast, and I add some activity at the end of the fast. But you don't necessarily need to do that to get the benefits. But I look at it as having prolonged periods where there is no food, and then eating in a smaller window. So I still eat the same amount of food that I want to eat in a day, but I just compress that into a smaller time frame. Does that make sense? So I'm not, even though it looks on paper like I'm missing a meal, I'm not actually eating less. And I found that to be the best way to get the benefits of fasting, because for me, really the benefits of fasting is more of a longevity, anti-aging, cell renewal type benefit, where yes, it probably does help with utilization of burning fat, but what I found to be really great is other things like digestion, and I think it does make sense if you're looking at your body, which I've talked about many times, which is your body really is this ancient machine, isn't it? It's not a new model. It might feel like it, but we're walking around in a highly sophisticated ancient machine that's evolved over thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And logically speaking, you would have, or this body that we're in would have evolved in a way, in terms of the pattern of eating, it would have probably become accustomed to, would have been long periods without eating. When you were hunting and gathering, you probably would have been doing that in a hungry state. And then periods where you were really feasting and you were overeating almost. So that's sort of how I look at it. I think your body's actually very well set up to go for long periods without food. There are some things that come into play when you are in a fasted state where there's no food in the system that are very beneficial. As I said, there's a lot of cell renewal, mitochondrial renewal, which is the energy within your cell. A lot of those functions happen when you are not in an eating state. So I think definitely the way to look at it is from a health perspective, love it. But from a way to control your weight, I think probably it can be part of the solution, but it can't be the whole thing. Because as I said, I think you end up in this bit of a slippery slope where if you're just judging the fasting diet on your weight loss result, then it's something that can really ratchet up, and you can end up going way too long without eating. And that's not something that you want to do for optimal health. So hopefully that sort of explained my thoughts on fasting. As I said, I would definitely recommend learning more about it, or the best way to learn is to go through it yourself, and you'll definitely come out the other side of it with a deeper understanding of how your body works and how food makes you feel and all those sorts of things, which are really beneficial for your ongoing, I guess, education about your body, which is what it's all about. So hopefully that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next video.